Welcome to the Property Talk, where we make sense of the real estate industry. The Property Talk is brought to you courtesy of Mirembe Villas, that's in Ngoji. If you are looking for fine, state of the art housing, luxury villas, then Mirembe Villas in Chigo is your place to go. But of course, they just didn't think about the luxury end. They also thought about you, the person, you who's like me. So abantu bawansi, Mirembe Villas thought of us. Mirembe thought of us through their new estate, which is in Sentema, the Mirembe Estate in Sentema. They thought about you and they gave you affordable housing. You can be an owner of a home for as little or as less or as minimum or as affordable as 50 million Uganda shillings. And with just a deposit of 10%, you can start your journey of being a homeowner. For more details, you can reach them out on their social medias or at their offices on Garden City ground floor. But on set with me is someone who's not new to you, someone you all know. And usually when I host him, you keep telling me, we need him back. We want him back. The information he gives us is vital. It's things we do not know about, things that are happening right around us that we did not know about. On set with me is Mr. Vincent Agaba from Avat Housing. Vincent, it's a pleasure having you on set.
Thank you, Christabel. It's a pleasure always to be here with you. Thank you.
We actually appreciate the time you give to us, the knowledge you share with us, the audience out there, what they get to know. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
But first and foremost, I'd like to dive in straight and ask the recently concluded Area Uganda conference. What was your take home on green buildings?
No, thank you very much, Christabel. I think I would like to thank the Property Show team that we keep this going. It's many years. I think it has done its impact.
We try.
And Edwin, on the other side, all of you have done a great job. So I would like to say that actually the area conference was perfect.
Okay.
The beauty is this is the first time also I was not involved.
That's nice.
So the board and the technical team, thank you, because it was fully packed, but also the element of green. Now, 40% of the ecosystem of the whole world in terms of climate impact, real estate contributes about 40% in terms of degradation of the environment, in terms of climate negative impact. And that is very critical for us to understand today, because as soon as we don't realize that actually when we deplete the catchment areas for water, when we actually pave all the hills we are building on and we create all that runoff of water into the swamps and valleys, what we are doing is actually we are limiting the Mother Earth from absorbing the water that actually runs through the system and actually makes plants grow, but also stopping the speed at which water runs down here. And that, I think that's what real estate does. We pave things, we plant less trees, we go into the swamps and build there.
And reclaim them.
We reclaim them. You know, the other time we were in Mbarara, and I think there is a river called Rizi.
Rizi, yes.
Yes, if you see how narrow it is becoming every day because
they're encroaching on it slowly by slowly.
Now the question is, if River Rizi disappears in Mbarara city, what will be happening in the future? So that's what I think we need to help us to think about our minds. In Fort Portal, there is River Mpanga passing throughout the city. Why these towns and cities were built around this river and water channels? It's because human beings understand that we need water to survive.
Yes, we need the water to survive. We need the energy it brings out for our survival. Yes.
Exactly. And we know that where there is water, the trees, the forests grow, and the oxygen is actually becoming there, and carbon dioxide is rotating and making itself and saturating. Now, the more we build and squeeze and start dumping maram and all different things to create land in where it's not supposed to be, I think it's a short-term way of looking at things. We are actually killing ourselves.
I know every day I'm driving home from work, I get so agitated and so angry at the fact that, you know, that swamp on Bunga Road, you know, have you been there, Violet? Have you noticed how it's been reclaimed? How we have, you know, buildings coming up here and every day, you know, you go to sleep when you've left the swamp there, you drove past the swamp. Tomorrow morning you find iron sheets there. You're like, okay, maybe, you know, something happened. 2 months down the road, boom, it's a building.
It's a building. And at the end of the day, that's what we were looking at the real estate conference, trying to switch on our minds. And the real estate conference this time for area was not only area, it was also other players in the built environment. There were architects there were surveyors. It was a combination. They called it ABEC, Built Environment Conference. So now area played a very coordination role and they were the host. So the idea is, how do we switch on the ears of everyone who is in the built environment, every player, to realize that, look, as I'm designing as an architect, or as I'm doing land surveying as a surveyor, and doing the valuations and all these things, or I'm a civil engineer, when I'm called upon to build a building in an area, for example, which is supposed to be an environmentally controlling system like a swamp, what is that professional obligation do I have as an individual to say, no, this project will not take
I'll not take it on. You know, we had Shali on set with us, and I was asking Shali, what are those things in place, the rules in place, the regulations in place to say, okay, if you are constructing and you're not favoring the green agenda, you're not favoring the green building, you're not favoring the economy, what is it there that is there to capture people and to hold them accountable to not doing what they are doing?
Yes. No, the first point is we are trying to call out upon the public consciousness. You know, there is the enforcement side. That's, for example, public sector, police, government, and so forth. But there is conscious. There is professionalism. There is feeling like I am because you are, and because you are, therefore I am. This is an obligation, which is a natural obligation that is on both of us. Because I can assure you, even those buildings you see being built in the swamp, there are civil engineers there. There are architects who draw them there. There are land surveyors who go and actually survey that land and give it a title. So it's not for me an issue of really government alone. It's not an issue of police not going there and so forth, or NEMA or and so forth. But we also, the professionals who partake of those projects, because we are looking at, for example, cash flow or survival than actually the impact in the long term, it's high time that we get switched on. It's high time that we realize that by doing that, yes, I'm getting this X amount of money for now, but I may not get it longer, or my grandchild or my child will not actually be able to do the same, because at that point, the environment will fight back. So that's what we are doing.
Is there any way that you can tell how we're going to be able to attain net zero? If you look at our economy, you look at our real estate market, Vincent, you know where we have come from here to here, then to here, then to here, then back up, then we're never on stable ground.
Exactly.
Today we seem like we have stabilized, we're getting there, and then next thing you hear is COVID, and we are back to zero, and then we are trying to get back up, and then there are rumors of Ebola here and here, so everyone is pulling out. Even someone that had got the energy to come back into the system is saying, okay, let's see how it goes about, and then we can come back in. So how do you see us attaining net zero with our economy?
No, I can tell you, Christabel, what is happening actually. If you asked me today, is the world better than how it was, for example, 100 years back? I would say yes. Human beings, we have been fighters. We know that these things have happened in the past and they will continue happening. But there is always that increment in human being being ingenious, being innovative, and creating the world that is better today than yesterday. If you look at the death rates or maternal birth rates and all these things have reduced over years. So it means we are moving. Now, when do we come to net zero? Yes. If you look at the Antarctic and the Atlantic, when you see the ice centers at the North Pole and the South Pole, it's worrying. It is worrying. You see this melting and so forth. But human beings, we are thinking. Now, the issues of renewable energies, the solar systems, the wind system in terms of power generation, these things are coming. And also with all these things that are happening, for example, Russia, Ukraine, and so forth, it is switching on people to think, okay, what are the alternative energy sources for us to be able to survive beyond hydropower, for example. Now, it's going to happen also here when we are talking about water running over the hills and filling up Lake Victoria, and Victoria coming back and trying to take, for example, the Muyanga Bokassa, and all the people are flooding in water. People are going to realize and say, look, if I'm having a plot of land, instead of building it 100%, let me build 60 and 40 plant trees. It is going to happen. So we need to see, or we are already seeing that people are realizing, okay, fine, let's plant trees. You see all these organizations like the Rotary, you see the churches coming in, we need to plant trees. Housing Finance Bank. It is human caution. So I think we are not going to sit here and wait. Now, the point is what programs like this, Property Show, bringing debates like this and sensitize more people and say, look, by planting a tree, you're not actually doing anyone a favor.
You're doing the favor yourself.
You need that shade where you can put a mat and relax during the day.
I know.
Yeah, you need just to feel sleeping and open the window and see wind blowing. So why pave the whole place and don't look after the paspalam to ensure that it's green?
I keep telling people when we get into the engagement of green, I keep telling people, the way we make an inheritance for our children's children, you get. It's the same way this green is. What do you think you're leaving for your children 5 years from now if you've built this mansion, this villa and everything, but
wall to wall,
there's nothing eco about it?
Yes.
What are you leaving for your grandchildren?
Exactly. And the other thing which we need to think about is that the world cost of living is going higher.
True.
So the question is, when we are trying to build the buildings in terms of lighting, how do we optimize power light from the outside? Instead of a day like now at midday, you're switching on lights inside. Why don't we have big windows and nice ventilation systems that actually we take advantage of the natural system of light and cut down the bill of power? Those things are starting to play. The issue of water. You have a huge roof.
Water has become an issue.
Yes, you have a huge roof and water is just going. Why don't we harvest it? Because for cleaning floors in the houses in Christabel, for washing your cars,
tap water,
we don't need national water.
Exactly.
When it's raining here. So every house should be able to collect the water from the roof, put it in a tank, and all these other casual things that you need for even watering the plants. We don't need to use national water.
Thank you.
So from the cost point of view, as the cost of living also goes high, we shall be forced.
When I have Vincent on set, we can never wind the conversation down because it's information after information after information.
Yes.
But next week on set, I will still have Vincent and we'll still be discussing much more about our real estate economy. Vincent, for now, let's take a break.